Good evening and welcome to the City Council meeting of May 19th, 2026. And welcome to all of our guests. It's so great to see a full house. Thanks for coming. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members present and establishing a quorum are Council members Fulcher, Beaumont, Hanford, Walker, Gamble, Fisher, Blair.
Wonderful. Councilmember Hanford, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item of business is public comments. This is a limited opportunity for people to speak to the council during this council meeting. Pursuant to council rules of procedure, oral public comment is limited to in-person comment only and must comply with the standards set forth in the council rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Information on where to send written comments is on tonight's agenda and on the screen. Please note that if you wish to speak to an item scheduled for the public hearing tonight, there will be a separate opportunity to speak on that topic. We'll now begin the public comment. Clerk, were there any written comments received for tonight's meeting?
No.
Okay, thank you. The first person signed up, actually the only person signed up, is Wendy Weicker. Wendy, oh, there you are.
Hi, Weicker, I like her.
Weicker, okay, great. Could you say your association, and we'll start the timer for 3 minutes.
Fantastic. Okay, good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Wendy Weicker, Republic Services Municipal Manager for Monroe. I'm here tonight on behalf of my colleagues and the 15 dedicated drivers we have in Monroe. First, I'd like to reiterate our sincere apologies for last summer's service disruptions. My teammates and I know and appreciate how frustrating and unacceptable that situation was for Monroe residents and business owners. It was equally frustrating for us too. Since that time, our team has been working closely with city leadership and staff to restore your trust and confidence in our partnership. With the recommended action before you tonight, we want to assure you that concerns raised then are clarified and codified in our contract going forward. My team and I want to express our appreciation for Monroe staff, particularly the dedicated work done over the last several months for working collaboratively to draft the 6th Amendment to our solid waste contract. This amendment represents a thoughtful path forward. We believe it strengthens our service standards, clarifies our mutual communications and customer credit expectations, and reinforces our shared commitment to providing the reliable, high-quality solid waste and recycling collections that Monroe expects and deserves. On behalf of my team, I want to close by thanking you for our long-standing partnership. Republic Services sincerely appreciates the opportunity to provide collection services to Monroe residents and businesses. It's our privilege to also support community events like the annual cleanup that we had a few weeks ago, Monroe's Farmers Market, the beloved Easter Parade, many parks events, and National Night Out. We are committed to stepping up whenever an urgent service call is needed, whether that means responding to the county wastewater treatment plant sludge ban or mobilizing resources for emergency storm cleanup response. We are here to serve, and I want to personally thank you once again for working with my team to resolve last summer's frustrations. Please know Republic Services leadership team, Monroe drivers, and I greatly value our ongoing partnership with the city. We take our responsibility as your environmental services provider seriously and are committed to being a reliable, valued partner for years to come. Thank you for your time tonight and continued dedication to the citizens of Monroe.
Thank you. There's no one else signed up to speak. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak during public comment? Okay, seeing no one else wishing to speak, the public comments portion of the meeting is now closed. Next, announcements and presentations. So I have 2 proclamations I'll present this evening. The first is recognizing May 25th, 2026 as Memorial Day. So I'm going to read this proclamation. I want to thank the people from the VFW here tonight. I was honored to present at their meeting on Thursday night. I presented the state of the city, so thank you for having me. And then I was honored to be at the race on, was it Saturday? Yes, it was a great event, so thank you for having me there. Really appreciate it. So proclamation recognizing Monday, May 25th, 2026 as Memorial Day. Whereas we must never take for granted that as we go about our daily business in our community and while we sleep at night in the safety of our homes, we do so while members of our armed services are at work in dangerous and challenging conditions to protect us, our liberties, and our interests at home and abroad. And whereas on Memorial Day each year, we remember and honor members of our armed services who have fallen in service to our country. And whereas those who have fallen have left us with more than a memory, they have left us with an enduring legacy that we live today and that we should honor in our daily walk and interactions with one another. And whereas, in remembrance of those who have fallen, a wreath laying will take place at Lake Ty on Monday, May 25th, 2026, and VFW Post 7511 will hold a ceremony on May 25th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at the Monroe IOOF cemetery. Excuse me. Now, therefore, I, Patsy Cuddeback, Mayor of the City of Monroe, do hereby recognize Monday, May 25th, 2026 as Memorial Day and encourage residents in Monroe to remember those members of the armed services who have fallen in service to our country and to honor the legacy they have left to us in our daily walk, and to join me in honoring their service in memory of this Memorial Day weekend. Thank you. And if you want to come up and counsel. All right, thank you. Thank you, Council. The next proclamation is the annual powwow, May 23rd, 2026. Whereas the Monroe, Snohomish, and Sultan School District Consortium Sky Valley Indian Education Program is a federally funding program that focuses on academic support and cultural activities. And whereas the program serves Native American Alaska Native students preschool through high school age in Monroe, Snohomish, and Sultan School Districts. And whereas it is valuable that residents of the city of Monroe be aware of the importance of Native American Alaska Native education programs. And whereas the Monroe, Snohomish, and Sultan School District Consortium Sky-Comish Valley Indian Education Program and supporting nonprofit parent organizations are sponsoring a unique ceremony on Saturday, May 23rd, 2026, entitled the 22nd Annual Traditional Powwow. And whereas the 22nd Annual Traditional Powwow will be held at Monroe High School Commons on Tester Road, Monroe, Washington, from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And whereas partnership, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the traditional powwow, now, therefore, I, Patsy Cuddeback, do hereby thank the Sky-Comish Valley Indian Education Program and encourage the residents and businesses in Monroe to participate in the 22nd Annual Traditional Powwow on Saturday, May 23rd, 2026. Yes.
So it's our tradition to honor the dignitaries that do this sort of thing, our mayor and our council. So we'd like to sing a quick, short honor song. Washte toka le peloe, walk away apate, washte waka kelohe, washte toka le ay peloe. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Ya hey ya ya hey ya hey ya hey ya hey ya ya hey hey ya hey ya hey wash me toka lay hey a fellow hey walk away apate wash te waka kelo hey wash te toka lay I a fellow hey hey ya oh thank you. Yes, we honor veterans at the powwow. Also, free food.
Oh, he's still. It's a. If you haven't been to the powwow, it is an amazing event. Okay. Okay. The next item is item 6.1, and it's a public hearing for establishing pre-annexation zoning regulations for the Davis properties. Before we begin with the hearing, I will ask Kate to review a few preliminary comments.
Hello, there we go. Okay, before I begin this evening, out of an abundance of caution, we are requesting again the same round of questions to just extra caution for appearance of fairness. So there's a list of questions. This is a regulatory process. However, there's been a lot of interest from the neighbors to the south for the Davis annexation. And so I'm going to just read this quickly to you, and then I have a series of questions to ask. The proposed annexation zoning regulation is that subject of tonight's public hearing, has been processed by the city as a legislative policy matter in accordance with the provisions of state law and the city's local code. This procedure has involved review under the State Environmental Policy Act, known as SEPA, a public hearing before the city's Planning Commission, a policy recommendation by the Planning Commission, and now is required by state law, the second of two public hearings before the council this evening. In this context, there is no legal requirement for individual council members to undergo any type a formal disclosure process as part of the public hearing. However, staff is aware that the pre-annexation zoning proposal at issue has generated a significant amount of public interest and has been a topic of recent communications to the council. In the interest of transparency, it's staff's recommendation that the council voluntarily acknowledge the substance of these communications and publicly reaffirm the intent and ability of each council member to discharge their office official duties in a manner that is open-minded and unfettered, by any considerations that could be viewed as improperly clouding the council's motivation and judgment. To this end, I will ask the council a short series of questions for the record. If there are no affirmative responses to the particular questions, the record will indicate that no council member voiced any concerns as to this issue. Again, this is voluntary. For members of the public who are intending to testify during the public testimony portion of tonight's public hearing, you may use a portion of your allotted speaking time to rebut the substance of any prior communications that the council members disclose. So here are the questions. The first one, does any council member have a financial interest in the property that would be subject to the proposed annexation zoning regulations? No. The next question, does any council member own property within 500 feet of the area in question? No. Is any council member aware of any other personal interest or involvement with the proposal or the subject property that should fairly be disclosed? No. Is any council member aware of any personal bias for or against the proposal? No. Has any council member prejudged whether the proposal meets the applicable criteria for approval? No. Is any council member aware of any reason why he or she would not be able to perform his or her duties in an appropriately objective, impartial, and fair manner to the extent required by law? No. All right, final question. Has any council member had ex parte communications regarding this proposal while it has been pending? If so, the substance of the communication should be disclosed, placed on the record, and an opportunity to rebut the substance of communication will be provided during the public testimony portion of the hearing.
Councilmember Fulcher.
I responded to a few emails of public comment and accepted an information packet from the opposition.
Thank you. Councilmember Fisher.
As I stated in the first hearing, I've had conversations, emails, phone calls with people for and against this property.
Okay. Councilmember Walker.
Yeah, I've spoken with both parties as well, walked the property with both parties, expressed my understanding for their views on both sides, and yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you. I have also been in communication with resident with the neighboring property and walk boundaries of the property with that person.
Councilmember Blair.
I've had communication with parties both for and against the annexation, mainly the pre-annexation zoning, mainly before and after council meetings. I've gotten some emails. I don't think I've responded to any. And I did also get an information packet from the opposition.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
Nothing further than what was discussed at the last public hearing. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll dive into the presentation this evening. Before I begin the slide deck, I do just want to remind you that in your agenda packets this evening is an outline of the background and policy framework, along with a complete packet, the complete public hearing packet from April 14th, which included public comments, the SEPA documents, the Planning Commission findings of fact, and the draft ordinance. And then in tonight's packet, there's also responses to two public comments that we had not captured previously. One was the report that was handed out at your April 14th public hearing, And the second one was a response to a request for us to withdraw the SEPA determination. Excuse me. So with that, first slide.
Yeah, yes, yeah, I need to open the
Oh,
hearing.
sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
and I actually am gonna read the rules also, because I think that's relevant. So, please note that the rules and procedures that apply to this hearing are available in the agenda packet and are on the city website. To summarize, after the hearing is open, city staff will present a staff report, and council members may ask questions for clarification of staff or wait until another time. So I am going to read the rules of order for this legislative public hearing, and they are as follows. Unless otherwise expressly allowed by a majority vote of council, or a public comment during a public hearing are limited to in-person attendees only. Remote oral public comment is allowed only to the extent specifically required by RCW 42.30.240 subset 2. All speaker comments shall be made from the podium unless the speaker has been authorized to participate remotely. Any person making comments shall be requested to give their name first. Comments shall be directed to the presiding officer and the council body as a whole and must be reasonably germane to the topic of the hearing. Anyone making out-of-order comments or taking actions that disrupt the meeting may be subject to removal from the meeting. There will be no demonstrations or interruptions during or at the conclusion of any person's comments or presentation. These rules are intended to promote an orderly system of holding a public hearing, to give every person an opportunity to be heard, and to ensure that no person is intimidated by others when exercising their right of free speech and participation. Let's see. So for the record, I'm informing all parties interested in these proceedings that the city clerk has forwarded to the city council all timely written or otherwise recordable comments that have been submitted regarding the subject matter of the public hearing. Now the public hearing is open. Ms. Tortorella, please provide the staff report for this public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. I also have Lance Bailey, our Community Development Director, is also with me this evening if you have questions. First slide. And I promise this is much shorter than the first two presentations. So this evening we are here for the second required public hearing as required by the Revised Code of Washington 35A 14330. It is 30 days after your first public hearing. We are hoping at the conclusion of the public hearing that you will consider all documents, the Planning Commission's recommendation, public testimony, and consider the record before having your first reading of the draft ordinance to adopt the pre-annexation zoning for the properties commonly referred to as the Davis properties with the single-family residential 7 units per acre or R7 zoning. Next slide. Again, this is, we are here because an annexation process has been applied for. The county increased our urban growth area, and the very specific purpose of tonight's meeting is pre-annexation zoning. So that's establishing the regulatory tool to allow uses and development if this property is annexed into the city. Next slide. And then just we're keeping the slide in here as a reminder, both Snohomish County and the city of Monroe were going through their 10-year GMA required comprehensive plan process at the same time concurrently. The city of Monroe did not include the Davis request in its own process, but the Snohomish County processed theirs, and so now we're kind of in this reconciliation process where we are changing our code, and at the same time we received an annexation request. So I will note we are already processing a comprehensive plan amendment that will be coming to you later this summer, and with that application the initial designation was residential 1, which is implemented by the R7 zoning. Next slide. Again, the refresher on our zoning code requirements. If we do have an annexation that comes in before it's pre-zoned, our code has already established some criteria that we're to follow, and that is to use the least dense residential zoning designation, which again is residential 7. This is just a citation of the city code. Next. Okay, and we're keeping this again. So there are really 3 different things occurring with this application. So we've got the comprehensive plan amendment process, We have the annexation proposal, which is a separate piece. We have this pre-annexation zoning, which is also, and I love the term that Amy came up with, these are adjacent but related processes. They are not necessarily sequential. And so just to remind you, we are at the second public hearing for the pre-annexation zoning. If you choose to approve this, this does not require you to approve the annexation. It is a separate action, and we would actually be coming to you after the comprehensive plan, so we would be before you asking for this consideration, regardless if the annexation had come in or not. Next slide. Again, this is just familiarity of the property. It is at the just north of our existing city limits, west of Chain Lake Road. It kind of surrounds our water tower up there. It does have a natural gas line through the middle of it, and we are aware of critical areas. All of these things would be assessed if it were annexed and an actual development proposal came in. At this point, there is no specific proposal. Next slide. Public comments. We had a few people who are in support. Majority of comments were against. The concerns related to density and compatibility, school capacity, traffic and safety, infrastructure timing, environmental and wildlife concerns. All of these items have been addressed and are included with that April 14th public hearing packet, which is included with your agenda for this evening. We did receive an additional, or you all received a written packet asking for consideration of something other than R7. Staff did respond to that, and that is in your packet. And then again, as I mentioned, we received a request to withdraw the SEPA determination, and our response is also included in your packet. Beyond that, we received one written comment before tonight's public hearing, which I believe was presented to you in support by Mr. David Toyer. Next. So also in your packet, I believe it's attachment number 2, is the Planning Commission's recommendation. When we went through this process, the guidance from our zoning code is R7, the most least dense, a residential zone, but at the time the commission asked us to do a comparison, what about R15? That information is in the packet. Ultimately, the Planning Commission is recommending that the City Council adopt the residential 7 units per acre pre-zoning for the approximately 23 acre Davis properties. Next slide. And then finally, tonight is your second required public hearing under state statute. If you choose to move forward with first reading of ordinance and want to move forward with adoption, we have tentatively scheduled the second reading and final adoption for your June 9th meeting, and then we are required to file it and have it certified with the county. That is the conclusion of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, council? Okay, seeing no questions at this time. At this time, I will ask if there are any members of the public who wish to speak to this matter. Unless the council wishes to impose a different limitation, there'll be a 3-minute time limit on the speaker. Okay. Your time will begin after you introduce yourself and provide your area of residence or association. Please be respectful of all speakers and of the hearing procedure itself. Please also note that the hearing is an opportunity for you to address the City Council. It is not intended to be a question and answer session. Do we have anyone signed up for the public hearing? Nobody has signed up. Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the public hearing? Okay. I see no one else wishing to speak. Council members, do you have any additional questions to ask staff? Okay. This is the conclusion of the public hearing. Are there any objections to closing the hearing? Hearing no objections, the hearing is now closed. Okay, there is a requested action, council. Councilmember Beaumont.
I
move to approve first reading of ordinance 003/2026, adopting pre-annexation zoning regulations for approximately 23 acres of land consisting of Snohomish County tax parcel numbers 2806250040780, 2806250040760, 2807300030060, and 2806250040770, commonly referred to as the Davis properties pursuant to RCW 35A .14.330, adopting supporting findings, providing for severability, and establishing effective date. Thank you.
Yeah. A motion has been made by Councilmember Beaumont and seconded by Councilmember Gamble. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Council. Thank you, staff. The next item of business is the consent agenda. Council? Councilmember Hanford?
I move to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Is there a second? Motion has been made by Councilmember Hanford and seconded by Councilmember Fisher to approve the consent agenda as written. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Council. The next item on the agenda is item 8.1, Republic Services Contract Amendment with Megan Darrow.
You guys hear me?
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight, I am here to request that council approve amendment number 6 to the city's solid waste contract with Republic Services. This amendment is focused on strengthening operational accountability, improving customer protections, and formalizing several administrative and communication requirements. Throughout negotiations, staff worked to strengthen protections for both the city and customers while minimizing impacts to customer rates. Amendment number 6 includes several operational provisions that staff successfully negotiated with Republic Services without increasing customer rates. These provisions include contractor-staffed community collection events, which would be required after 2 consecutive weeks of missed residential collections, enhanced communication standards as outlined in the labor disruption response plan that was included in your agenda packet, daily administrative reimbursement fees to offset city staff resources allocated during labor disruption events, and non-performance fee provisions if the contractor fails to meet contractual service requirements. Next slide, please. Staff also negotiated customer credit provisions for residential customers after 2 consecutive weeks of missed collections. Under this amendment, customers would receive full weekly reimbursement for missed pickups. Residential customer credits will result in a modest rate increase of 1.78% beginning January 1st, 2027. The table on this slide outlines the monthly impact by service level, with increases ranging from approximately 10 cents to 79 cents per month. Commercial customers may also receive reimbursement for the service portion of their bill after 2 consecutive weeks of missed collections upon request. Staff are able to negotiate this after the fact reimbursement structure without increasing customer rates. Commercial customers are also one of the prioritized customer types for limited service collection during labor disruption events. Overall, Amendment 6 is intended to improve service accountability, establish clearer remedies for customers when service disruptions occur, and strengthen operational expectations while also balancing impacts to customer rates. This concludes my presentation, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Council? Councilmember Walker.
Start
just wanted to first say again, thank you for during that event. You're working in the blistering heat to run the event in the parking lot, so I'm grateful for you. Just want to make sure the monthly rate increases for some of these changes that, again, appreciate you guys working through them. It's because, I guess the theory is that when disposal companies would have bid on the contract to be the provider for the city, without these provisions, the idea is that they would have seen less cost, so that's why to add provisions to the contract, there is a minuscule increase in rate?
Yeah, so basically it's kind of like we talked about in some of the past presentations where it's kind of like an insurance policy. You know, they're trying to recoup some cost in the event that they may have a labor disruption and have to release those customer credits. And so Republic Services actually is the one that came up with the calculation based upon us giving them sort of the structure. And one of the things that we did that did cost a little bit more to the service rate increase is we did ask for a full credit back. A lot of feedback that we got from the public following the labor disruption event is they were extremely displeased by the fact that they received only service portion credits back. They felt that wasn't fair, especially for those who disposed of their garbage themselves. So we did ask for something a little bit more than what a lot of other cities have written into their contracts, and that's where that little bit more was kind of fixed into how they assess that rate increase for us. And that was another reason we chose not to automatically do customer or commercial collection credits, because we were going to see a much more significant spike in rates if we automatically did the customer credits back as well. So we were able to negotiate if a commercial customer experiences 2 weeks of missed pickup, they can reach out to Republic Services and get that service portion credit back after the fact, basically.
That makes sense. And the contract that we had with Republic was very favorable for the city in general when we were thinking about going out for an RFP for a new provider. Do I remember that correctly?
Correct. Yeah, we have what's called an evergreen contract. So we essentially are allowed to make a choice annually if we want to give notice of termination, which is 3 years ahead of time, to cancel our contract. Nowadays, most contracts are set up with specific timeframes and a certain amount of extensions. And the benefit to the contract we have right now, being a little bit older, is that our fee structure is built off of 2017 prices. And as you know, the cost of pretty much everything has gone up significantly since 2017. So when we explored going through a full procurement process and going out to see what other contracts may be with waste management or Recology or some of the other regional providers, we would be looking at a contract built on 2026, 2027 fee structures. So in the research we did, we found that a lot of jurisdictions who have recently restarted a new contract, their customer rates are significantly higher than the ones that we're experiencing in Monroe.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, you guys worked really hard on this whole thing, so I'm very
Thank you.
grateful.
Thank you. Any other questions, council? Okay, there's a requested action for tonight. Is that on the screen? There we go. Councilmember Blair.
I move to approve amendment number 6 to the comprehensive garbage, recyclables, and yard debris collection contract between the City of Monroe and Rubenco LTD, doing business as DBA Republic Services of Linwood, Republic Services.
Okay, thank you. A motion has been made by Councilmember Blair and seconded by Councilmember Hanford. Any other discussion? Councilmember Gamble.
No, I just appreciate all the hard work. I obviously was one of those that was pretty outwardly not happy along with other people. And some of it, and I appreciate you being here tonight, goes to the history of the relationship and just service issues we've had going back in time. And I was very much for, let's open it back up, let's get a better deal, because we've had call center issues, we've had service disruption issues. But I'm very happy with with what has been agreed to here. But I've said this before, it's all in the execution, and that's where we have fallen down. And so I want, prove it. Prove me, wrong that we should have gone the other way, because this looks great, it's just the execution side. So I appreciate all the hard work, and let's make this a really good relationship into the future. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, 7-0. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you. Next is item 8.2, Resolution 2026-009, Utility Bill Adjustment Policy with Deborah Knight. On your last meeting ever,
I know.
you're presenting this.
No.
Lucky you, right?
It is, lucky me.
All right.
So the issue in front of the council this evening is adoption of Resolution 2026-009, which would repeal a previous policy adopted in 2008 and adopt an updated utility bill adjustment policy. This was presented to the City Council at your last meeting by Liam McCorkle, who is extremely familiar with this policy, and I am filling in for him this evening. So I just wanted to point out two changes between what the council saw at the last meeting and what's being presented to you this evening. The first item I want to point out is that we found that there seemed to be a discrepancy under the definitions of normal bill. That definition was intended to allow an individual who had less than 12 months of a billing cycle, that if they had a leak, there was a way to allow us to determine what the normal use would be so they could be eligible for a leak adjustment. And the last sentence in that definition seemed to conflict with the prior sentence, so we just removed the last sentence to make that clear. So if you get a leak and you only have less than 12 months of billing experience, you would still be eligible for a leak adjustment at that point. The next item that had changed is under Section 1, the leak adjustment authorized. The original language said that once a leak is identified, repairs must occur within 30 days of, and it was detection by the city or the customer. Well, that didn't make any sense to us because it isn't simply detection by the city, it would be notice by the city to the customer. So we just clarified that language to say either detection by the customer or notice by the city, and then they have 30 days to make that repair. So those are the two changes that we made between when it was presented to you at your last meeting and what is coming to you this evening, and I will do my best to answer any questions.
Questions, Council? Councilmember Blair.
I want to have some discussion with council on this. And I'm glad that you already noticed the thing about the normal bill. I would say not just lining that out. There was also good language from the first policy regarding normal bill language. I would say if we could look at that and possibly put that in there. There's some other things on definitions. I think we should define high consumption there, and it should be something large. Like, we shouldn't be having the staff bogged down with, oh, I've got a $25 higher bill this month. Like, it should be like a 40% or a set increase or higher, I would say. Some sort of a threshold where, and then that way we're hopefully getting, I know it said we get 15 or so a year. Maybe we remain at 15 even though the city grows, or we get 10 of those really high consumption ones. And then that way the staff can actually, take their time and look into them. That's something I would like to see us move towards. Also, the irrigation definition and irrigation not being covered at all. I would like to see it either have some sort of a process where they could try to ask for their irrigation, because the irrigation definition is so broad. This is any faucet fixture for landscaping. I mean, this could be that you have some of our customers are for water are outside city limits, they have an acre or more of land, they could have a hose, like a faucet that's causing a large high consumption that they wouldn't be able to see right away. So readily apparent, that definition is good, and it feels like that should be the standard. Let's see. I was wondering if anybody knows, of the 15 we get a year, it said only 5 last year were approved out of the 15. So the 10 that weren't approved, does anyone know what made them ineligible? Like, what thing did they not hit? Because I'm thinking to myself, our customers of water, similar to like tonight with Republic Services showing up here and showing that they care about their customers. If 15 people put in requests to the city and took their time to even figure out that we had this policy, because it was actually kind of hard to find online, then it must have meant something important to them that they took their time to do that. So I want to know if those 10 denials would now be qualified with our new adjustment changes to the policy, or if they would remain outside of the eligibility. I have a few more things, but I know Walker, you had your hand up too. Is that a question that would need to have research done and looked into for the next meeting?
I would definitely want to look at those and come back. I wouldn't want to answer those questions on the fly.
Because this is a policy that we've seen, we had it in 1986, we updated it in 2008, and now we're looking at it again. So I want to be sure we get it right, since we don't update this very often. And the friendly and responsive, I want to really be sure that we're giving a responsive feel to those 15 or so people per year that are putting in for those. So I would like to see us have more conversation. I could go over all my questions on the record. I could email them, whatever you prefer.
I think that depends upon whether or not the remaining council members are interested in hearing that.
Yeah, okay.
Or whether or not you want to email them to staff and have us either address them on the record at the next meeting or summarize them somehow. Those
Right.
are some options the council has when considering this policy.
Okay, so of my council members, I'm asking that we get more questions answered and have more discussion on this issue to be sure we get it right for the Monrovians.
Councilmember Walker, I think, and then Hanford.
I'll second
Councilmember Walker.
Councilmember Blair's request for more time and
Okay.
answers to her questions.
So would you like to hear the questions tonight, council, or would you like to have those emailed in and we can bring back responses to them? Yeah,
Assuming Councilmember Blair would prefer the latter, because I think she just listed some of them, I would make a motion for those ones if a motion's even necessary. Email, yeah.
email, okay. Councilmember, is that it, Walker?
Yep.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
I'd love to hear all the concerns myself, rather than waiting on email, because we had this last week and then we've put it off till today. So
Right.
I'd rather just hear your thoughts, your concerns, and then if other council members want to chime in on their opinions or their concerns, then we can address it, but
Okay,
my thoughts.
okay. Are others okay with fleshing this out a little bit more tonight, and then maybe writing down the questions that come up? And sounds like council is not ready to make a motion or vote on this tonight, is what I'm hearing. Is that correct? Okay, so more discussion. So Councilmember Blair, you have the floor.
Okay, if the high consumption standard is, I don't know how we should do this, do I say, that's something I'd like to explore. Like if staff could come, that's one of the questions, could we get a definition for high consumption added? And what would that threshold be? Like 40% of the bill increase, 75% increase, 200% increase? Like maybe all three of those staggered. I'd be willing to talk about any of those. And if the irrigation, I guess if I'm putting these as a question, then could, what would qualify really then? I mean, just only inside your house, something, if we could go over the irrigation one and they could, staff could cite like maybe examples of what they do and don't mean by the irrigation, because it seems like some people's in their yard stuff should qualify. This one is about the form. So the form only lists 2 options for the person to check mark when it says, why are you applying for the exemption? And there's actually 4 things listed in the policy, so the form should match the policy. The things missing are photos before and after and other documentation requested by the city. So the form also, while we're talking about the form, it feels like the part for the person to fill out is pretty small, and it seems like they should have to write a little bit more to be applying for this, because it seems like they should have to explain a little bit more, like when did they find the leak, or how were they notified of it, and what, physically write out what they've done to repair it and list those dates. Let's see, another question should be, oh, I just want to mention about perspective, and maybe if the staff could show us they gave an example, but it doesn't have any dollars attached to it, and so that would be helpful. I don't know what, the 1,000 cubic feet cost would be, so how much are we talking? Our bills come in 100 cubic feet, and so it seems like the policy should also speak in the same units that our water bills come in. So that would be a question of why they are not, and if we could make them the same. It seems like maybe we should address something about what happens to the bill during the bill adjustment process. So once the person's been notified, they're working on it, seems like a little more clear on what happens then. Or maybe we already do something. I didn't see that already in there. Maybe that. And on the form, if the person could write, how was this resolved? So that's, again, more effort on their part to be filling out. I was notified this day, I did this, it was resolved completely on this day. Let's see. All right, I think those are all my questions.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Walker, you had your flag up.
I really appreciate Councilmember Blair's attention to detail on these things. If I could change my ask of staff, because some of those might require follow-up on some of the smaller details like the numbers. The first go-around, I think this went through Finance Committee and had some of those smaller details. I think that might be a proper route, and we can kind of hash some of those out, and then when it comes back to council, it'll have them bulleted out and detailed. And then Councilmember Blair, obviously, if those provide some of those answers, then at the time we can say, do we want to adopt this resolution? What do we want to include in this order? If that's acceptable to the rest of the council.
Council? Okay, that sounds good. So we'll have it on the next agenda item for finance.
I don't know if it'll make it onto the next agenda for finance.
Okay.
I know part of the challenge is we have a number of items that are coming to the Finance Committee, so maybe one of those situations where we need to either meet earlier or time out some of these discussions to ensure we've got plenty of opportunity.
Okay, well, we can look at the agenda and make sure, and if Finance Committee meeting or members would come in early one meeting, that would be probably beneficial. Councilmember Blair?
I was wrong. There's 5 more things. I think that people should have an ability to appeal. If you look at the form, it says the finance director will make the determination. And I mean, the finance director, I know, knows money. Do they really have the qualifications to review a leak and determine if this was a reasonable amount of water that was used, or including the Public Works Department and/or city administrator. So if there was an appeal process, then the appeal would include the review by Public Works or city administrator. That seems fair, because then you're not wasting their time on all of them, only on some that are appealed. Let's see. The city also gets a report on high water, or on water usage. Can the city ask that vendor to sort by the highest change in use, or to print a specific report that is the same as what our, like a 40% more usage, or a 75% more usage, or 200, whatever we decide, because that would alert the city. Right now, the report, from what I understand, is it just comes in, and you can't tell who's had what the increase is. So if you have a business, they're gonna use a lot more than a person's house. So it's hard for staff to determine if it's an increase in usage. It seems like if a data collection agency can get all that stuff, they can probably do a report like that. Let's see, I'm sorry, that was only two more. Oh, there's no way for a customer to check their water usage. So is there a way that people can log in and see their normal usage? Or would the only ways that they know about it be that they're inspecting their property, or once their bill comes, or if the city looks at a report and notifies them? So I guess the question there is there a different way for people to determine their water usage during a month before the bill comes? Okay, I'm pretty sure that's everything now.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
Speaking of water usage, I just wanted to bring to attention that in the lobby, there are water conservation kits that
Oh,
are free and available to the public, so please help yourself.
yeah, thank you for mentioning that.
Since we're talking about
Yeah,
water
we're
usage,
talking about water. Councilmember Walker.
Last thing, can it go to P3 instead of finance?
I don't know, what's on P3?
Public Works?
I don't know.
Does that make
We can
sense,
look and
Jacob?
come back.
Randy's on P3.
Okay, well. Yeah. What's on the agenda? Okay, we can look. Yeah, we can look and see what the agenda is, but it's, in my opinion, council's discretion. So if we want to bring it on P3, we'll look at the agenda and see if it fits there. Is council in agreement? Okay. All right. I think we are ready to move on from that item. All right, thank you, Ms. Knight. The next is council member reports. So Councilmember Walker.
It was great seeing you, Mayor, and Councilmember Beaumont at the 5K. I made it about halfway down the backside of the lake with my toddler and baby. But you guys did great, and I just appreciate, obviously, the VFW, them putting that on every year. It's always just a wonderful event, and it's cool seeing our fire and police there with the huge flag draped over. Yeah, I'll keep it short tonight. Obviously, we'll be, Mayor, you'll be doing a wreath laying on Memorial Day, so looking forward to attending that, potentially with the rest of the council, 9 a.m., I think, 8 a.m.?
8:30.
8:30. And I
Yep,
hope to see
Lake
some of
Tie.
that public there as well. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Councilmember Fisher.
Really short tonight, nothing to report.
Wow, that is short. Councilmember Blair.
Also, nothing to report.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
I will not be able to attend this night's going away party. And so I just have to, I'm going to just keep it really light and funny for everyone's sake. But I remember, was it 2017 when you came to staff? Yes. So I remember my first trip to the Economic Alliance of Snohomish County, back to DC to lobby on behalf of the city. And I remember Liz Atkinson made the reservations for Miss Knight and myself to fly, and Councilmember Camp had made his own arrangements. And so we got to fly together, ride to the airport at 5 in the morning or whatever, well, 3 in the morning probably. And I just remember that up until that point, Deborah was just professional suits, like
Oh, here it comes.
total professional, and just was like, wow, this is just amazing. This is a top-notch leader in our city. And then we showed up here in the parking lot to ride, and we got out and at the airport, and I was like, she's wearing jeans. Wow. And I just thought that was a really fun trip to where we got to know each other, because we didn't really know each other before that. And I think we've taken probably, 5 at least trips since then to lobby. So good memories, and so appreciate you. Wish you the very best. Thank you.
Councilmember Beaumont. Thank you, Councilmember Hanford. Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you, Mayor. So Saturday, yes, was spent at the Flags for Our Fallen Run, which I do every year, try to do every year. And it was really a cold morning. And I really appreciated seeing Councilmember Walker there. Got to see baby Lucy for the first time. She's just beautiful, and Theo. And Mayor Cutterback, your comments were really, really
Thank you.
outstanding. Really, really great job with your remarks. And it's just a really, really important event every year, and happy to be there. I wanted to give a big shout out to the City of Monroe Community Development Department. We had our trivia night on Wednesday of last week, and we had Director Bailey, and we had Anita, Ms. Marrero, and we had Vince Bertrand, and we had Sherry there, and others I'm forgetting, but it was just an absolute wonderful event. And I think the city team came in second, so really appreciated that support. It was wonderful. And I also would like to just share, I was just writing down some things that Deborah has been to me in my last term and current term, not very long. Deborah is my guiding light. Deborah is my Encyclopedia Britannica. And Deborah is my Yoda.
Oh, Yoda.
She's very wise. And she will be so missed, but I know I'm going to see her because she's involved with Historical Society stuff, and we both like to climb and hike and do things. So thank you so much for everything that you have done for the city and for me personally.
Thank you, Councilmember Beaumont. Councilmember Fulcher.
Thank you. I was going to say nothing to report, but apparently we're doing Deborah stuff now. So I'm just going to keep it short and sweet and say, Deborah, you have been an amazing part of this city, and it will be very hard to find someone to follow in your footsteps. I'm saying it that way because you said fallow again and again and again the other night, and I'm like, what is fallow? So I think it means follow. So there you go. We will miss you. I think so. I think so. Thank you, Deborah, for all your years. Yep.
Thank you. Councilmember Gamble.
Yeah, I was always going to say something for sure. Last one on the record. I mean, yeah, but I've known you over 20 years, in varying capacities. I've had the pleasure of, when you were, I think the first time we met, well, it might have been church, but then I think it was in the professional capacity, was at in Sultan, when you were in Sultan, and then you were in Stanwood. And I vividly remember, when Gene, and ironically, I just saw Gene. I was at the credit union, and Gene walked out, and he sent his best. I said, it was your last one. And I was like, what are we going to do? And then when we were going through the process, and the reality that you were a candidate and that potentially we could get you to the city of Monroe, I was just over the moon, because I'd had the opportunity to interact with you in all the different capacities, and just, you are the consummate professional, the business inside out, always level, data has no feelings approach, which I love. You keep, I know, you keep emotion out of it, which is really hard to do when you're talking really, really hard, emotional, charged items, whether it's, on the local or national front, and I just always appreciated that. I'm definitely going to miss you. I mean, you've been a constant for, my life in one way or another. I've seen my kids grow, all that type of stuff for over 20 years. So just excited for you, and you're going to be on a motorcycle too, right? In your retirement?
No motorcycles anymore. We've
You hung
advanced
it
to the
up?
motorhome.
Just the motorhome. All right.
Much safer.
But congratulations, it's been an absolute pleasure. Very big shoes to fill, so.
I was going to say, you've known me since I was 9, is that right?
That's right, that's right. Vice versa.
Been in the profession for 20 years.
That's
Yes.
right.
Good. Thank you, Councilmember Gamble. Councilmember Walker, do you want to circle back around if you guys have comments on Ms. Knight? Oh, you want to go last? Okay, Councilmember Fisher.
Well, I just think the public should know, it should be on record of how intelligent you are, how professional you are, how articulate you are. I know when I first became a council member a few years ago, it was like, oh my gosh, she's the real deal. Like, she really knows what's going on. Her intelligence level is out of this world. And it was always good for me to try and get some information from you, because I swear you know everything. And as Councilmember Gamble said, there are some heated discussions that can happen, and you are always just at one level, which I appreciate and also learn from, because I am not. Something that I am always working on. And so I just think publicly people should know how special she was in this position, and how much she meant to the city and leading it. So I appreciate you, appreciate your time here, and enjoy retirement.
Yeah, thank you. Councilmember Blair.
Yeah, I'm in the phase that he was saying, because this is my first term, and getting to see you work has been very, very helpful to me. I would, in the short time we've worked together, I would consider you a mentor, somebody who I'm going to try to aspire to be like. And so thank you. I'm glad to get to know you. And you are very smart, very professional, and you have a really good way of being able to solve the problems. Hear what somebody over here says, synthesize it, and then put it back out with like facts and like law to support it. So thank you. And I would almost go as far to say is that you're like the queen for Monroe, because you have.
Where's your crown?
Yes.
You need a tiara.
and the professionalism of where everybody is at, I think it's has a lot to do with you, because you raised the bar for people. So thank you.
Councilmember Walker has the last word.
I didn't know it was Deborah's last meeting, so I was just a troublemaker in a committee meeting before this, and now I'm going to cry out.
You gotta pay attention.
Deborah, you are an absolute titan. You're one of the smartest people I've ever known. I can't express how appreciative I am for you, from myself speaking or on behalf of the city and the community. Not only are you just the epitome of professionalism and class in your role, but I wanted to go first because now that I'm going to give people a peek behind your professional facade. You are cool. Like, you are so cool.
Don't let the secret out.
You're so cool. And having conversations with you about how you sped a lot and you got a lot of tickets, so I'm just going to call that out. We were both rabble-rousers in school, so that helped me connect with you a little bit more because, yeah, you're just so smart. I am so appreciative. There'll never be another. Being at different events around the states, people have came up to us as the council and gone, oh my gosh, Deborah Knight's at your city. Yeah. So again, the community might not know that, but you have been one of the greatest things to ever happen to the city, and I'm not just trying to gas you up. And lastly, let's not forget that you have started from, I think you started in Public Works as potentially a seasonal way back when, I can't remember the city, maybe Sultan, and you have risen through the ranks to be in this position. So just the coolest story in the world. You are fantastic. There'll never be another like you. So thank you.
Yeah, I was just about ready to say, I should have had you all around so the rest of my team who are saying, do we know this woman that they're talking about? Like, who is this Encyclopedia Britannica that you speak of?
They know that.
They know me as having, I have a golden fish memory. That's why they're all like, who? But thank you. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. I have a few words to say too, but I'll wait.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, I will save my comments for my mayor's report. Staff department reports. So first report is from the Parks Department, Mr. Teague.
All right, thank you, Council, Mayor. I'm bringing tonight the April Parks Department update. Our crews are in full swing for spring as we are working on maintenance of athletic fields, ball field preparation and setup. We've done some trail repairs. A lot of pressure washing and playground inspections are continuing in the month of April. In April, we added 3 of our summer seasonals. We have a total of 6. The other 3 came on in May. Our park staff have supported some significant events, including the community Easter egg early in April, and then the Arbor Day tree planting hosted by the mayor, Bark in the Park, Lake Ty Kids Fishing Derby, the KC Edelbrock 5K, and then the beginning of Miracle League for the year. So that is my report. If you have any questions.
Any questions, Council? Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I was going to ask, I noticed around Lake Ty, we're not mowing down to the tall reeds anymore. Is that because maybe the lawnmower that usually does that broke or something, or just wonder if you could look into that.
I'll have to ask on that. We have begun a pilot program of low mowing in certain areas where we're reducing the amount of mowing, but at Lake Ty, that's not one of the locations. It may be an equipment issue. So
Okay.
The closest low mow location is the Stanton Meadows Trail. They're connecting Stanton Meadows to Frylands Boulevard.
Okay, yeah, this is if you're walking north. So Frowns Boulevard's here, and you're on the path, and the lake's right here, and you go past the utility, the skate park, the utility thing, and then it kind of slopes down to the lake all along there. I just happened to notice, so
There should be no change in our mowing pattern there. I'll look into that.
thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you. I just wanted, for the record, to just state, first of all, I'm really happy that we've been communicating about e-bikes and e-scooters. That's been fantastic, especially right now. So just wanted to say thank you for getting that information out there, and I think a lot of people are reading it. I did want to just say that, gosh, I'm trying to remember, it was about a week ago maybe I was down there, and the e-scooters and e-bikes are continuing to be a problem. And I even pulled out my phone and took pictures of some of the situations that I witnessed. There were a group of young people on them right near the skate park, and it included like a small mini bike, dirt bike type vehicle. And then they continued to ride around the path, and one student or young person was riding behind the other. There wasn't even really a seat. They were just kind of perched on the back. And there was a woman with a walker, and there was almost a collision as I was walking behind. And, you know, this is very common. This is happening more and more. The weather's getting nice, and kids are out on these. But I really feel like we need, maybe as a council, to talk about what we might do sooner rather than later to prevent some of these collisions and accidents. And I think people are just feeling really unsafe as they walk around, or with their strollers and babies and all of that. So just for the record, just wanted to get it out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Would you support bringing it to public safety, P3, first, and looking at that? We started with a communication plan to educate people, knowing this was the first step, and I do agree that people are paying attention. I've seen, like, thank you for posting this, and people getting information. Hopefully that would change behavior. So we might need to take, what's the next step? So probably on P4, if councils, or P3, sorry. Okay. Awesome, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Teague? Okay. Next is Deputy Chief DC Irving.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for letting me be here to represent Chief Jolly tonight. I have our April department report for you. I trust that you've had an opportunity to review it, so I'll just highlight a few things. You will note we did have a couple of break-ins at our city lot, and Public Works have done some enhancements on the fencing, and we've worked collaboratively with them to get some more surveillance equipment out there to try to apprehend these people responsible for this. We did have a couple of great events with Bark in the Park and the Community Egg Hunt that we participated in April. And in honor of Administrator Knight, I want to talk about some data, because I think that's relevant. Did you catch that? And I'm really looking forward to hearing about this in motion on Friday. So we're actually trending positively when we look at crimes. We've had 0 vehicle thefts in April. We had 1 vehicle prowl, 0 vehicle recoveries, and 2 burglaries. I mean, 0 is ideal, but as far as we're trending, that's good. We continue to be very proactive in trying to suppress traffic and criminal activity out in the community. You'll see that our self-initiated activity continues to trend much higher than in previous years. I think it's about 1,000 contacts on there. We did have 64 arrests last month, and 105 tickets were issued. And collisions were down from 23 to 17 in April. So that's a positive sign. That concludes my reports. Are there any questions?
Yeah, any questions, Council? Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Chief Jolly. No. Deputy Chief, thank you.
I'd be honored to be Chief Jolly.
Right. Self-initiated calls, is that when the officer calls something in?
When the officer initiates the activity, it's not a 911 generated call.
That is 1,000 over last year. Do you think that's due to more like a change policy, or is that a staff increase, or is that just how awesome our cops are?
It's a direction to be more proactive in our traffic enforcement as well as our visibility in the community.
Amazing. I think you guys are awesome too. Thank you. And then I just, because I always see them around, I also just want to give so much credit to the community service officers. They are just, incredible. So yeah, please relay that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Next report is from Ms. Wyckoff, Clerk and Records.
Thank you, Mayor. In your packet is our quarterly report for the first quarter of 2026. As you can see, public records requests continue to increase year after year. No change on that front. We highlighted some of our platforms that we use for retention and responding to public records. We're trying to just give council more information about the tools that we use and the importance of those tools, and how they actually save us money and time. So that is in the report. We highlighted Archive Social, which it grabs our website and social media. And then we also highlighted Smarsh, which does our emails and text messages. Very nice tool to be able to look through the millions of emails that we currently have. And then we did a quick project summary. If you have not heard, the DOJ, Department of Justice, did a new update to the ADA rules, and are basically letting requiring, excuse me, my tongue is not working tonight, requiring agencies to comply with new web access. So that is the good news is that we have an extra year than we thought. The not so great news is that based on what we've heard from other agencies that have been working on this project, there is the potential that we are going to have to change some of our practices. So more news to come on that. And then that is about it, except I'm going to take the time, even though I was basically ordered not to say anything about Deborah during the meeting. We did not do a slideshow. I'm not presenting you with like confetti or anything, but I do want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity, hiring me along with Mayor Thomas as the city clerk. You have been a great leader, given me guidance and mentorship. I super appreciate that. My brother-in-law used to work for Deborah in Sultan, and he wanted me to pass along that you are one of the best bosses he has ever worked for, and I would have to agree. So, yeah, I appreciate you appreciating me too. I came from a not so great location in the past, and Deborah came in and started thanking me and showing me that she values me right away, and there's something to be said about that. So I value you too, and your one
Thank
feeling.
you. Thank you. I am going to give staff a chance to say something if they want after this, after the report. Deborah did not want anything, but I think, you know.
I'm shocked.
Yes. Yes, well, we're trying. We're trying. Okay, any questions for Ms. Wyckoff? Okay, thank you. Last report is Ms. Adams.
All right, thank you, Mayor, and hello, council members. I'm presenting the March and April Human Services Report. Included is some information about our next resource fair that we're starting to plan, including highlights of opportunities for connection for all ages, including kids camps, music and movies in the park, information on senior-focused aging in place services in Snohomish County and transportation. There's also some there's also the update to the 2026 resource guide, which I kind of previewed for you at the last meeting, including 43 newly added resources serving Monroe and nearby communities. Our Human Services call log highlights a couple of really great cases where clients were able to connect to appropriate support services and human services after arriving at City Hall in visible distress. In both cases, front desk staff was able to alert me, and I was able to do some case management with folks on the fly, and it was a really rewarding experience. We also were able to collaboratively look at possibly preventing some displacement and prepared some outreach and education along with the coordinated entry VOA advocates to go into that if needed. Our mobile mental health program is currently paused. The co-responder vacated their position in late April, so that is included in my report along with some of the metrics and outcomes to date and some of her success stories from March and April. And the flex funding update does highlight that 53 households were able to be served with flex funds, which are the most flexible use of funding that allows case managers to work with one-time client needs and resolve problems before clients have cascading impacts to their crisis. So 53 unduplicated households and 178 individuals were served in that funding, which there's very limited funding remaining, but over the 25-26 biannual budget, we were able to contract with, take the next step to help allocate those funds, $15,000 worth. We're able to help prevent homelessness and further crisis in our community. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, Council? Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Rachel. I just wanted to compliment you on these reports. You know, all of us work up here, we're busy, we don't always have time. Like, I always feel bad that I don't know exactly what is happening in human services, and I try and keep up with what is going on. But these reports are so helpful because I think in general there's a tendency for people to think, oh gosh, maybe this money's going to people that don't really need it, or somehow they're, you know, tricking the system or they're taking advantage in some way. And when I read these true life scenarios of these people who are struggling, it really helps me understand what is going on and where this money is going and the need that's out there that I don't always have my finger on the pulse. And I love this. I'm going to read this. These examples demonstrate the value of City Hall as a trusted place where residents in crisis can turn for help and be quickly connected through compassionate intervention to the right community partners and resources when they need them most. So thank you for the good work you're doing. These reports always are welcomed by me. I read them very carefully and thoroughly, and they're out there for everyone. So as I've mentioned before, when you presented, I wish that we could get these into the hands of other people that can really see the good we're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I concur with Councilmember Beaumont. Telling the story is what you do amazing job at. So I appreciate that. I mean, all the staff reports truly helps us see what's going on. So for all of you, we appreciate all of that. But as far as talking specifically, Rachel, this report, greatly appreciate it. And it's keeping, not just telling the story, but being transparent with all the funds and being above reproach. So that's what we want as a city. So,
I appreciate
and then
that.
also your community resource and support guide, I got that in my box last week, and just wanted to say, fantastic job on that.
Yeah, I would love to highlight a resource that I was able to add and find in collaboration with our mobile mental health provider, who was able to suggest SOS Eastside, which is a survivors of suicide crisis group that meets virtually. That was in response to something that came up at a prior meeting that we spoke about, and I thought of you when I added that in there. And so thank you for bringing that to my attention, that that was a needed resource for people who have survived that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is the extended agenda, your last extended agenda, Ms. Knight. I'll let staff talk after. I want to kind of give them some of the last word. You get the last word tonight, but they get the second to the last word.
Thanks. I remember my first meeting, I wasn't even appointed yet. I think I was actually a candidate, and I was sitting in, and the council moved on to the extended agenda, and it was already a late night for me. I was like, what is this extended agenda? They're going to go on some more? Only to realize that it's just a reporting out of what's coming on the next agenda. So here we go. Looking forward then to the next two meetings. For 5/26, both the P3 committee and the regular council business meeting are canceled in observance of Memorial Day. For the June 2nd meeting, the Public Safety Committee meeting has been canceled, but we will have instead the Transportation Benefit District Board meeting, and that begins at 6 p.m. So we will provide another notice for that. That will be then the 2025 Annual Transportation Benefit District Report for council, and excuse me, for the Transportation Benefit District Board. For the regular council meeting at 7 p.m., we have under announcements and presentations a CPR and AED awareness proclamation, a public hearing on the traffic improvement program, co-living housing public hearing and first reading, and the R7 ordinance extension with Anita Marrero. Under the consent agenda, we have the 2026-2027 SRO interlocal agency agreement. Under new business, we have the interim R7 ordinance extension first reading, traffic impact fee ordinance first reading, and the 25-26 comprehensive plan amendment introduction, and then the regular mayor and administrator reports. Is that it? Oh, there we go. All right. For the city administrator reports, just a reminder, this week is Municipal Court Amnesty Week. So if you know of anybody that has fines outstanding with our municipal court, this would be the week to come in and talk with Pam Haley and Judge Ness. Upcoming America 250 community events, the Farmers Market is opening, and its opening day is next week, May 27th at 3 p.m. next Wednesday. Hard to believe it's time again for the Farmers Market, but super excited about the market opening. And then there is going to be a FEMA and Small Business Administration Disaster Assistance Center that is going to be open at the Snohomish Library May 20th through 23rd and June 3rd through June 6th. And this is a result of the federal government declaring the December flood a national disaster. So all now the resources have started to flow into the area as a result of that. And then finally, my thank you. You're going to let me go last?
We're going to have you go last.
That's fine. I'll wait.
Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. So for the June 2nd reserved for a workshop, is that not happening?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies. We'd have to roll back.
We do not have a meeting on June 2nd, I believe. There's nothing on the special meeting workshop.
Just confirming. Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions? Any other last questions for Ms. Knight? Oh, you're going to ask a tough one. I can see it. Councilmember Walker.
Have you ever done an IQ test? Got to be 200.
Thankfully, no. I think I would be disappointed.
She doesn't need it. Okay.
Oh, but ask me what 7 and 5 is, and I wouldn't be able to tell you without counting on my finger.
Okay. Thank you, Council. Next item is Mayor's report. So I've had a very busy week. I missed the America 250 event on Wednesday night. I wanted to go, and I totally forgot. So disappointed about that. But Thursday night, I had the honor of presenting the state of the city to the VFW. And so I texted Ben Wortham after and said, I just had a great night, great crowd, wonderful group. It was my honor to share with them what's going on with the city. Friday, I attended the PSRC training on housing all day, incredibly informative, learned a lot, just recognized how complex housing is and some of the bills that were passed down in the last session and the rationale and what the need is. So it was really a great training. I look forward to continuing that. Saturday, I went to the flags for our fallen in the VFW race, and just again, my honor to be there to say the opening comments. And then last night, I presented the state of the city to the school board, which was really great, and just trying to keep that partnership strong, and had some really good comments from the directors. And I think I have a couple more of these state of the cities, and I'm going to put that to rest for a little bit. So I'm excited about that. And then Monday, 8:30, I think Councilmember Walker mentioned this, we will be laying a wreath at Lake Ty at 8:30. So if any council members would like to join, I would really love that. The VFW 7511 will be there at that time also. So looking forward to that. And then a couple comments for Ms. Knight from me. Coming in as a new mayor can be very difficult. And I have been so fortunate to have Ms. Knight as my city administrator, somebody with such experience and just dedication and smart and, gosh, the best darn poker face ever. Ever. Couldn't get a read sometime, very tactful, incredibly professional. And so I just really value all the advice and expertise you have shared with me these last 5 months. It has made my transition that much smoother. So I couldn't ask for a better partner in this journey and my first part of the journey than Ms. Knight. So really appreciate that. You're going to be incredibly hard to replace. That's why we haven't really replaced you, right? We decided not to hire someone and elevate the fine Ben Wortham into the position, but really couldn't find a candidate outside this organization to replace you. And what I did hear from so many people in the community as I was doing my state of the city, and this was one of my topics, was replacing the city administrator. You were like, boy, that's a big job. That's going to be hard. And I kept hearing that over and over again. So thank you for everything. I'll probably have more words. I am attending your party on the 29th, so I will be there. And so I look forward to that, but thank you so much. And I look forward, Deborah and I are going to continue to see each other because we've gone wine tasting together. Maybe I shouldn't have said that on the record, but so there'll be future Deborah sightings for me. So appreciate you, Deborah. And no, you don't get to speak yet. I'm gonna turn it over and see if any of the staff would like to make any comments, and then we will give you your last words. You're welcome. So Rachel has her hand up. Go ahead, Rachel.
Deborah's staff was instructed not to speak
but we're
about
not
this tonight.
listening to her.
But
we don't need to.
But I'm very glad and grateful that you are giving us the override.
Yes.
And I won't say much because I'll just start crying. But you know you mean a lot to me. So thank you.
Wonderful. Any other staff that would like to make any comments? Mr. Wortham.
Did you hear about the part where we were threatened? We all love Deborah, but we're going to respect her wishes of giving her kudos at Friday at her retirement party. That's what she wants. So.
Yep. Any other comments for? Oh, Mr. Bailey, I knew you couldn't keep quiet.
There are people who think I don't talk very much. I'm gonna ignore the threats. Which I have ignored a few, sometimes at my peril. God, I'm not sure where to start. I mean, I think a lot of people have used words that would describe how I would describe Deborah. Incredibly smart, incredibly respectful. I am not a data-driven person, and she's amazingly patient. I can push it to the limit. I can see it. Because I can go around in a lot of circles and I can see it's like, get to the point. It is in there. I will get to it before you leave. But I can say that working here has been a total breath of fresh air for me. And you've been a big part of that, and I want to thank you for that. God, I'm breaking up.
No.
Very respectful. I came here sort of at the end of my career, and I have learned so much that it's just been incredible. And the only thing that I regret is I didn't come here earlier. So I will leave it at that because I'll have more to say. But it is incredibly fun to work with Deborah, and I will say, as calm and I don't think the word, when you know you've done something wrong. You never want that look again. So thank you very much.
It took me raising 5 daughters to perfect that look.
Yeah, that's scary. Any other staff that would like to speak tonight before we? I know you might be saving it for the party. And I apologize, Jake, I forgot to say Public Works Week. So I see that up here. Public Works Week 2026, May 17th through the 23rd. Recognize your public work staff. They do a fabulous job out there. So sorry about that.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the welcome distraction from the other stuff that was going on. Carry on. Also, do you have a look? When?
Okay. All right, are we going to turn it over to Deborah for the last words of?
Before we do,
sure.
No one has an issue with the HR director saying the city administrator is threatening the staff.
I think we're going to let that slide tonight. Yeah.
Made my night.
You didn't have to bring it up.
It's last meeting.
Last meeting. Okay.
It's all fun. I mean,
we are going to turn this over to Ms. Knight for the last word of the night.
Yeah, thank you. And it will be brief only because I told somebody earlier when I was trying to think about my comments, part of the challenge I have is I'm bad at goodbyes. And honestly, I don't feel like I am saying goodbye because although I am leaving this position, I'm not the community. Now I'm going to tear up. I have several projects planned, and so you may actually see more of me than you want to, I'm afraid to say. It's like, I thought we let her go. What is she still doing hanging around? But I do just want to recognize that this is my dream job. I have said that more than once. My husband and I moved to this community in 1995, and that is a time before the internet, if we can all remember that. And in order to get a job, you had to look through a newspaper and make phone calls and fill out applications. And Fred Meyer was hiring, and so I went and filled out an application, and thank God I did not get the job because I don't think I would necessarily be here today. My path would have been a completely different path, and I would be doing something completely different. But I would never in my wildest dreams have looked around this community when my husband and I drove here, and all we had was a camper and a trailer, filled with what limited worldly goods we had at the time. It would never have occurred to me in my wildest dreams that I would one day be the city administrator of this community, and that is what I am most grateful for. Now I'm going to tear up, and I am grateful for the thank you, the number of gifts that the community has just the opportunity that this community has offered me, and all of the grace that you and the staff have extended to me more than once. I was telling a story earlier today about coming to a community where I don't have any experience in a number of departments, including police, and without the grace of God and Ben Worthen, I might not have survived this far. So it is not done alone. All the things that you see that oftentimes I am people look and say, oh, look what the city administrator has done. It does not happen by me alone, and you all know that. Without the team of people that we have here, without the fantastic culture that both the Monroe community has, but this organization has. And I've often said that I always looked upon my time here as making sure that together with this team that we were able to kind of maintain that culture that I inherited from others that were here long before me. Gene Brazel was mentioned as being somebody who started his career here at the city of Monroe, worked up to city administrator, and he created much of this culture that we have now, along with others, Brad Feilberg, who've left, Joy Petrick, Denise Johnson. I mean, all these folks that were here when I first started, they were the keeper of the organizational culture that we have and the community of service that this organization brings to the city of Monroe and its residents and business owners. And I am just grateful that I was given the opportunity to be a part of this team. And that is really all I have to say for now. And if you want the other inside stories, you'll have to come to the retirement party.
Inside stories, wow. And then I think Sherry has something. We have a few things.
Yes, and thank you to Sherry, because without her, all of this, the lovely presentation in the back, please help yourself to some cookies that she made.
Yes.
Oh,
There's some flowers
thank you,
for
Sherry. Oh, excellent, even better.
Cookies and even
That's right,
better.
she said, oh, the cookies who were just here. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yep. And then we have cookies.
Yeah, so please stay around and take some with you.
Yeah.
The signs? Oh, great. Oh, I'll have to walk over
There's
there.
a sign up there. Okay.
Unless you want to.
Do you want to do this?
Oh,
there you go.
That's so wonderful.
Giving
Thank
up
you
my
very much.
power.
I don't even know what to say because usually the mayor says we're adjourned. Oh, it's all written here.
Yes.
Okay, ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
Well,
let's
thank
do
you.
it.
There being no further business and no objections, the meeting will be adjourned. Hearing no objections, the meeting is now adjourned.